In this video, we're going to be talking about the loneliness phase of recovery and how to get through it. Stay tuned. Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another episode here at Sobriety University. On this channel we talk about addiction and recovery related topics. And in this video we're going to be talking about the loneliness phase of recovery, some ways to overcome it, get through it, and kind of what it is. So first question might be like, yeah, what is the loneliness phase of recovery? Well, the way I like to look at it is it's a phase that comes and goes. So unfortunately, it's not something that just happens once and then it's over. It's kind of almost like an event and it continues to pop up. You might be wondering, like, why does it continue to pop up? Like, one would think that once you get through a phase of something, that it's over and you don't have to revisit it again. Well, what I found is that the loneliness phase, which is a period of just isolation where it might be difficult to connect with other people, relationships might not be really popping, there might be like a transition or something, and therefore there's just not a lot of time to spend with other people. And in this phase, what I've found is that it can feel kind of lonely, hence the name. In these phases, I become much more to myself, where I find it difficult to connect with other people, to be honest, in these phases, where I might try to go out, meet some people, have interactions, and it just might not work. Other times I find that I just don't really want to, like, even though like I want to, it's like a paradox, like even though I really want to be out and having relationships, I just don't, and like no energy in my body is like even remotely interested in like going out to meet other people. Now, this could be like due to like introversion, which is just being within oneself more than being extroverted and being more outgoing. I feel like a lot of the people I've met in recovery are more introverted. It's rare to find an AKA extrovert. There are some for sure. It's just kind of, I feel like the introversion's more of a thing. Maybe with the weed anyway. I'm sure there's a lot of people that drink alcohol that are really extroverted people, and the booze almost helps that a little bit. And so back to the loneliness phase of recovery, I find that it's very difficult to connect with people, difficult to have the energy to go out and meet people. And there can be nights where it happens and I'm like, man, is this kind of it? Like, it really just is me here. And it can kind of feel uncomfortable at times. And so one might ask, why does one go through a loneliness phase of recovery? Well, what I found is that after like a breakthrough psychologically, spiritually, for example, let's just say like I realized that I'm doing this behavior, for example, that I no longer resonate with, and it was like a dysfunctional behavior, and now that I don't do it anymore, I don't really connect with it anymore. So for example, let's just use the biggest one here, which is like when I was drinking. That was a behavior I did quite often, and then when I stopped drinking, it was like, whoa. And this thing I used to do all the time, every 4 nights a week, I don't really like resonate with it anymore. It's not really exciting. I don't find it attractive. I don't even respect it anymore. And therefore, a lot of the friends I was hanging out with, we're not gonna really get along with anymore, because a lot of our relationship was based on drinking. And I mean, it's not like out of malice. It's not like they're bad people. It's not like I'm a bad person. I still like them as people. It's just like a lot of relationship is about like what one can do with another person. And in that situation with the alcohol, I found that, yeah, it was like it was difficult to connect with the friends I had, and it was almost a bit of confusion, like, what is going on here? Like, why don't I really want to hang out with these people anymore that I was like so excited to hang out with just a week ago? That doesn't make sense. And in that sense, it can feel kind of isolating. And that like, oh man, like, wow, like maybe I'm just kind of a loner, maybe that was all just like a myth or whatever. I think some other examples that come up a lot are with like just relationships, family relationships, old friendship relationships, kind of outgrowing, like when people start to outgrow each other, that can induce the loneliness phase of recovery, because it's like, well, I can't really reach out to this person anymore. Like, they don't get what I'm talking about anymore. I don't really get or care about what they're talking about anymore either. So it's just like, it's just kind of awkward, and it's like my time is going to be best spent elsewhere, and that can be difficult. And so the next question might be like, why does it keep repeating itself? Well, in recovery, as many may have learned already, that it's constant growth, it's constant expansion, consciousness, awareness, rising, all the above. And therefore, it's like, as soon as, I don't know about you guys, but as soon as I feel like steady in something, boom, it lasts for a couple days, and then boom, like all of a sudden, like life gets thrown on its ass again, and all of a sudden I have to figure out how to navigate in this suddenly new world that I thought I had just mastered. And that's kind of just what I find is the recovery phase. Now, of course, like it can get, like if you don't continue to work the program, it can get stagnant and stale and nothing really happens. However, I'm guessing a lot of you are on the journey of self-growth, self-discovery, and letting go of the self in paradox, and therefore the work is just kind of something that becomes just a habit. I know I found that personally, like I'm just never going to stop doing it, because it's like the pain of doing that work is way less painful than the pain of being stuck in the old behavior. So I am gung-ho going to do it until, well, probably the day I die. And so obviously there's going to be these periods of realizing that what I'm doing is no longer a match to who I am, the new energy I have. And this happens quite often, and it's not something, and at this point I've learned that whenever the loneliness phase of recovery comes, that it means I'm growing, and it means that once the loneliness phase does end, and the loneliness phase can last a day, it can last a week, it can last a month. I think at the beginning of getting clean from a substance, that's when it's the longest, because there's this whole like, I need to be by myself while I'm trying to quit this addiction. And the quitting addiction, going through the withdrawals, can be a bit of a lengthy process, especially depending on how long and intense the addiction was. So for like drugs, for example, marijuana, I was in the loneliness phase for probably like a year plus. Now with something like caffeine, I had already quitting some stuff. Caffeine wasn't as intense as the weed was, so I was like, I don't know, like a couple weeks or to a month or whatever. And then obviously I got out of it, and then was able to continue on and with the new upgraded energy. So after that period of integration happens, then one gets to experience the benefits of the loneliness phase, and realizing like, wow, it's like almost like being in a cocoon, like a butterfly. And in that cocoon phase, it's kind of lonely, you can't really move around much, it's like kind of boring. And then you break out of it, and suddenly like you're this beautiful creature, and you can go out and you meet other butterflies, and you get to hang around flowers, which are really pretty. Flowers being an analogy towards life in the world again. And basically, unlike a caterpillar, or unlike a butterfly though, is you go back into the cocoon and then come back out again as a even jacked up, more intense butterfly, and then that cycle just continues to happen. And so I think the loneliness phase of recovery can be a period to embrace, and that it has a lot of benefit to it, and that embracing it is going to be what really creates that a less of a suffering. Because I know sometimes, and I just got out of the loneliness phase of recovery, where I was like, man, like I had just gotten out of hanging out with people again. Like I just had a big upgrade, and then I'm like back in the loneliness phase, and I'm like, man, like what's happening? Like, is this gonna last forever? And I gotta take my own words here, that remembering that, like, okay, this is temporary, and it's not gonna last forever, and everything I'm going through right now is gonna just make the comeback even more enjoyable. It's almost like a springboard, like you're like building up that energy, being at your place, being alone, whatever, and you just spring out and just like experience life like brand new again with its new upgraded awareness. You're not doing the same dysfunctional behavior, and it's like such a reward. And honestly, that's what keeps me coming back to this, just because the highs of recovery are way better than the highs of drugs and alcohol. Like I remember I would use drugs and alcohol and other substances to get the high that I feel on a regular basis. aka when I'm not in the loneliness phase of recovery. And so yeah, it's basically like you get to get high off life. And feel free to reach out if you're going through the loneliness phase of recovery. I know it can be helpful to talk about it with support groups and stuff, support networks, friends that can understand. And it just kind of helps like realize like, okay, this isn't too bad. Other people go through it. I'll get through it. All of that. And also feel free to like and subscribe if you appreciate the content. It really helps get the channel out to more people that are dealing with addiction. I really appreciate your guys' support. Coming up on 500 subs here, which is really exciting. It's a big milestone for this small channel, and we'll continue to grow this channel and spread the message of recovery for years to come. So guys, thank you so much. Have a great day and talk to you soon. Peace.